Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. Brickswag back here with another video. I have a very exciting video for you guys today, one that I hope you guys will enjoy. As you guys know, a couple weeks ago, I released my first ever diorama video. So dioramas are a new product line within the LEGO Star Wars franchise. Very, very interesting sets. They're 18 plus. They're kind of meant for display as opposed to having play value. And I really enjoyed the diorama that I actually did. The one I did previously was the Dagobah Jedi Training diorama. And today I also have a very interesting diorama as well. This is actually the Mos Espa Podrace diorama, and this is from episode 1. So this is the scene where I think Anakin is doing his little pod racing or whatever. Unfortunately, it does not come with Anakin or any other minifigures for that matter. It's just the set itself. Normally, I wouldn't have gotten this set. I do think it looks very cool, but it is a little bit overpriced. I think this retails for about 80 bucks for about just over 700 pieces, I think, which I think is not a great deal. However, I was able to get a very cool deal on Amazon. So this actually ended up only being about $49, I think, which is a really, really good deal. Again, I think that's more than worth its value. Very, very good indeed. Shout out to the YouTuber 5 Lonely Clones. For helping me find this deal. He posted about it in his kind of YouTube post, and I saw it. I'm like, I gotta go grab it. This looks really cool. Again, no minifigures, but the set itself looks really neat, and I really enjoyed my last diorama set, so I'm sure I enjoyed this one. I'm a big fan of the prequel trilogy as well. Episode 1 has some really cool scenes, this being one of them. So yeah, very excited to unbox this and show it to you guys. And without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this set and review it. Alrighty guys, so just unbox this set here. Looks like we have 6 numbered bags here, so pretty cool. Should be a fairly long build, hopefully. We have these 2 giant base plates, which I'm assuming make up the kind of base area on the actual diorama itself, which is pretty neat. We have these little pieces here. These were in the Imperial probe droid as well. They're probably going to be used for some detailing and stuff, which is really neat. You have a couple of stickers. Again, I'm not a big fan of stickers, but these look pretty small, so should be fairly reasonable. And then finally, we have the instruction manual here. So unlike the Dagobah Jedi Training instruction manual, this one doesn't actually give an overview of what each section builds, which is slightly disappointing, but not a big deal. Again, hopefully it should just be 6 normal sections, and yeah, hopefully it'll be pretty straightforward, but very excited for this one. Again, the last diorama I did was a really good build, so hopefully this one is fun as well. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and build it, and then I'll do a full review after. So see you guys then. Alrighty guys, what's going on? Just finished the build of the Podrace diorama. Really, really nice looking set. I was already excited for this when I came in to it, with the great price and all, and just how good it looked. But I really didn't expect it to look this good in person. It just looked so much nicer when I actually built it. The build process itself, also extremely, extremely fun. If I had to rate the build process on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to rate this probably probably a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10 out of 10. I would say 9. Let's just say 9. There were a couple pieces on the pod racers themselves that were a little bit finicky to build. They're not perfectly in place, but aside from that, absolutely perfect. I love the way that the landscape was built. Just absolutely fantastic. But yeah, at least from a build perspective, absolutely phenomenal. The build itself took me about 2 hours and 50 minutes. That's what I clocked myself at. In reality, I think it's probably closer to 2 hours, 30 minutes. I think I got distracted along the way, and so that's probably what it was in reality. But again, just a really fun build process overall. Definitely very, very enjoyable. Just as fun as building the Dagobah diorama, except this one was a lot less repetitive. So it requires some finer detail with the pod racers and everything, but very, very fun regardless. So anyway, looking at the build itself, there's no minifigures in this lineup, so there's nothing to review there. In terms of stuff outside of the build itself, I guess, we have this 25 years anniversary brick. This comes with a lot of the 2024 sets, which is pretty cool. And then you also have these printed pieces right here. So you got one for LEGO Star Wars, and then one with the quote that every diorama has. So this one says, "Remember, concentrate on the moment, feel, don't think, use your instincts, and that's from Qui-Gon Jinn. So pretty neat there. Not the best quote in the world, to be honest. I think a funnier one would have been like, now this is pod racing, you know, but it's fine, it's fine. They do what they do. But anyway, looking at the build itself, so let's take a look at the kind of pod racers first, and then we'll take a look at the scenery. So in terms of Anakin's pod racer, really, really nice. Love the use of the yellow here. Obviously, you got that like little stick to represent, I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I'd never figured it out, but like the energy beam, I guess, in between the two sides of the pod racer. It's going through that arc here. You see the engines right there. Pretty neat. You got, you know, it's kind of symmetrical. And then you have this nice blue like accenting all across. You have some sticker pieces here to kind of add to that detail. Got a little stud there to represent kind of the pilot seat, I guess. And this is mounted onto the structure using just a single studded piece right there. It's a pretty interesting technique, but it stays on pretty firm, and you can actually maneuver it around a little bit, so you can move it along that kind of axis, which is pretty cool. So you can angle it, I guess. I think this is kind of like the default angle that you usually want to leave it at, but yeah, pretty neat there. And then you have I think his name is Sebulba's pod racer, so that's the, you know, the whole slave owner guy or whatever. So obviously a stud to represent him right there. You got the nice, really nice orange and blue. I'm sorry, not orange and blue, orange and black color scheme going on here with hints of gray as well. So pretty neat there. Again, his thing has the little energy beam, except his has a double. Just really, really neat build there. Again, aesthetically, I think this is like a near perfect set. It looks absolutely amazing. The way they detailed all the pod racers, just absolutely phenomenal. So really like that. Again, the contrast of the colors of the yellow and the orange and the black and the blue, and, you know, the pink and the gray, like against this nice like kind of tan and brown backdrop, looks really great. So speaking of that, some really interesting techniques they used for this. So there's actually like, I think this one's like a swiveling piece, if I'm not mistaken, and I think this one has one too. Obviously they don't move, but that's the way they created this really neat angle right there, instead of, you know, having it like flat, which is really, really neat. Again, absolutely masterful use of building technique there. And same with this wall as well. I mean, this wall actually, if you can't see it, but you know, there's a lot of pieces that you use to kind of place as a foundation, and then you place these like sloped brick pieces on top of it. So that's really, really neat. And you actually look at the back side here. This is completely flat. Again, I love the way they do this with all the dioramas. It's almost like a cross section, right? And so instead of like having like, you know, kind of like a small mountain there, it doesn't really make much sense. It almost feels like a cross section. So this is completely flat, and it kind of flattens out here. So that's really interesting. Looks really, really good. Again, obviously not meant to be displayed this way, but it just looks really, really nice. And again, you can get a alternate angle of the pod racer from this side, really, really cool. And from this side too, that one's pretty much the same. So again, just really love the detailing of the set and everything. So yeah, and again, aesthetically, I just love the color selection here. Looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm a very big fan. So really, really, really nice. Yeah, so obviously with my comments so far, you guys can obviously already tell that I have a very, very positive impression of this set. I think Lego did a great job. I actually like this set a little bit more than the Dagobah set. It's a little weird to say that, I know, because I think Dagobah, in terms of like the full package, like minifigs and all, is objectively a little bit better. But I like this one better aesthetically. And I also like this one better in terms of color scheme. So it's really interesting. Again, Dagobah, I mean, had great colors as well. I mean, the bright green is absolutely fantastic. But this just has something really unique to it. And I kind of like the fact that there's no minifigures. I like the fact that these are kind of micro scale, because it all just works together. You know, there's no like, if there were to include a minifigure, you just kind of look out of place, right? So really, really interesting the way they did this. And you know, I'm just a really, really big fan. So huge props to Lego for making this set. Finally got a prequels diorama, and it's definitely a good one. And honestly, getting this set makes you want to get even another diorama. I mean, this one's a banger. Dagobah is a banger. Like, I don't know, things are only looking up with this, I guess. So if I had to rate this set overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I think with the price, it's a little bit interesting. If I really take into account the actual price, which is $80, it might drop to like an 8. And, you know, if it was even cheaper, I'd probably give it like a perfect 10 because, again, I have no real qualms with this set at all. It's absolutely fantastic. I think it's just a little bit overpriced at the MSRP. I don't think you get enough of a build for that. You know, if you included maybe a third pod racer, I could justify that. But, you know, with the two you have right now and no minifig, you know, I just don't think it's worth the $80 or whatever it retails for. So anyway, it is just a really, really nice set, but do not buy it at full price. I think it's totally worth it at a discounted price though, which is what I got. So yeah, definitely really highly recommend this set. I think it is a fantastic set. It is great. I do think Dagobah is a little bit better, but I have a more personal bias for this one just because of how aesthetically it looks. However, I do acknowledge that Dagobah is probably objectively the better set. And Emperor's Throne Room is another one that I'm taking a look at right now. That one may top both of these, but we'll see. You know, we'll see. I may or may not get that one, so it really depends if I get the Death Star this year or not. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that review. Again, I really love this set. I'm glad that I was able to get it. Again, shout out to 5 Lonely Clones for you know, alerting me of this amazing deal on Amazon. Definitely check it out if you guys, if it's still a thing, you know, make sure you guys check it out and get the deal while you can. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you liked the video, please leave a like. Please comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you guys want to see more Lego Star Wars content here on Mr. Brickswag. Peace, guys. Have a nice day.